Hidely hodily YouTube. It's been a little bit of a while, not too long, but not too short since my last video of this nature. But I am back. I got 5 more things I've got accomplished, like I've done something lately. And as you'll see today, I'm wearing one of my wrestling t-shirts because this weekend is in fact WrestleMania, baby. I'm stoked. I'm fucking stoked for that. Anyways, onwards to the show. We got 2 TV shows and 3 video games to go through this time around. And the first show, Season 2 of The Bad Batch, the Star Wars animated series. As this one picks up from the end of Season 1, The Bad Batch's kind of contact at that time, Sid, I'm not sure what species she is, she comes up with a job for them to go to planet Sereno, which is where Count Dooku was from, and raid his estate and obtain his war chest, which should be full of all sorts of riches and valuables and equipment and whatever that they can survive on for the next little while. So this was a 2-part episode, I think, at the start of the episode that took them on that adventure, and it was kind of cool to see this throwback to earlier in the Clone Wars with an established character like Count Dooku, with him coming up and seeing his home world and stuff like that. Now, excuse me. I haven't done anything today and I'm fucking yawning. As the season unfolds from there, and just so you know, it was Season 2 was 16 episodes, just like the first season, and it aired in the earliest part of 2023 originally. So as the season unfolds, there's a couple of themes going on. The clones, the Bad Batch, go to various worlds and get involved in various schemes. Like there's a lost planet they visit. There's somebody takes them to a race that they get involved in on this one planet. They go to Kashyyyk to return a young Wookiee Jedi from captivity. But the 2 kind of overarching themes is that the Bad Batch are trying to survive and do what they always do and provide a good environment for Omega while they do try and make their way through the universe in their kind of precarious situation that they're in. On the other side of it, Crosshairs, who didn't go with them and who has stayed loyal to what is now the Empire, he is going on through his own journey right now, and he gets involved in a couple of different situations where he finally, in one of these situations, he gets paired with Commander Cody, who we all know from the Clone Wars was the clone commander assigned to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He gets involved in a scenario with Cody, and Cody kind of loses faith in the Empire and what they're doing, and eventually leaves. And Crosshairs still toes the Imperial line, but he starts to see this kind of crack in his thinking and what the Empire is doing. And by the end of the season, he's kind of seen, he's held captive by the Empire, and I think they're experimenting on him or something like that. But he's kind of seen the light, and he actually warns the Bad Batch at the end of the season about something that's coming that is going to affect them. In the meantime, the Bad Batch, when they go to, I can't remember what planet it is, or maybe it was Coruscant. Yeah, it was Coruscant, because the other kind of storyline outside of the Bad Batch is that on Coruscant, there's a big push going on to retire the clone army and start conscripting regular beings to be the Empire's stormtroopers. So basically, the clones are just being cast aside, no future, fuck you, thank you for your service sort of thing. Kind of just like in real life a lot. And so we have one senator who is sticking up for them and working towards clone rights. Well, on the other side of it, that Rampart guy, I can't remember what rank he is in the Empire, but he's the one who had Kamino destroyed by the clone army. And he's been trying to cover it up. Excuse me. Cover it up. Well, the Bad Batch and everything wants it brought to light, so people can see the evil that the Empire does. So there's this struggle going on Coruscant uh, for the clones to be recognized and taken care of, if they are going to be taken out of service. But then we have these other people in the Empire that don't give a fuck and want to step on their neck, sort of thing. So we have assassinations and plot lines going on in Coruscant, revolving around this issue. Echo, one of the members of the Bad Batch, when they go to Coruscant, he decides to stay behind with Captain Rex, who is on Coruscant and is involved in this clone rights argument. And so they briefly lose Echo as he stays behind on Coruscant. They have a new ally named Fee Genoa, I think her name is. A little more trustworthy than Sid. And the Bad Batch eventually cut ties with Sid over some differences. So this Fee takes them to a planet that she knows of, that's just this big island in the sea full of peaceful people, and she's like, I think you guys could enjoy it here. I think you know, if you want to escape the universe and what's, you know, chasing after you and whatever, you could probably settle down here. And they do stick around and help these people through a travesty and help them rebuild. But soon enough, everything catches up to them. And as the season closes, the Bad Batch head to, I think it's on Ariadu, which I believe is Tarkin's home planet, because Tarkin is holding a summit, an Empire summit to their advanced science division. All sorts of stuff is going on there. So the Bad Batch head there to try and maybe do some damage at such an important event. But Saw Gerrera, who is the leader of that kind of rebel faction that we saw in Rogue One, he's also there, and he's come to assassinate some top-level Imperial targets. And the Bad Batch is like, no, we want them alive. We want them to answer for stuff. Blah blah blah. You know, the same argument. The age-old argument of being a rebel and a mercenary. It's like, do you kill people or do you arrest people and let them be punished for their crimes, right? So, so those last couple episodes, we see a lot of stuff happens. I think it's a two-parter at the end at this summit. The Bad Batch eventually, after things go south, the Bad Batch try to escape. In order to help his friends escape, Tech ends up sacrificing himself and he dies, and Omega gets captured by the Empire. So as season 2 ends, it's kind of like the Empire Strikes Back. Like, things are pretty fucking grim at the end of this season. We got one guy dead, we got one girl missing, and God knows where they go from there, sort of thing, right? So I'm not sure how many seasons the Bad Batch is in total. I do have season 3 down on my shelf right now, ready to watch, but I don't know if that's the last season or if they're indeed going beyond season 3. But I suppose after I watch season 3 or do a Google search, I'll probably have more of a clear answer on that. So either way, great show, great season, really enjoy the Bad Batch. And it's funny because when I first started watching it, before I started watching it, like, it wasn't really on my radar. Like, it was, but it was like, I wasn't super excited about it. I was like, well, I'm going to watch it because it's Star Wars, but I don't, you know, it's not really, you know, drawing me in, sort of thing. But once I started watching it, I realized, oh, this is actually a really good series. Second TV series we're talking about today. Oh my God. Oh, it's so useless. Recently on Netflix, a certain season of a certain show just got released, and I gobbled it all up in quick succession after it was available to be watched. And the show in question is season 3 of Jurassic World: Chaos Theory. So like I said, season 3 of Chaos Theory just came out, so it's a 2025 production. And it, just like the 2 seasons before it, it ran for 10 episodes. Now, if you'll remember where we left off in season 2, Brooklyn working, really trying to sabotage that Santos woman who's running that whole underground dinosaur selling ring. The rest of her friends caught up to her as she was about to board that airplane with Santos to head wherever they were heading. And Brooklyn basically told her friends to fuck off, sort of thing, and they were all devastated. Like, she could have stayed with us, but she chose to go with the evil woman. So it picks up right from there. The kids are still on the runway. The jet has left, and soon the kids have to take cover because they see some vehicles pulling up, and we see a Kentrosaurus in a cage come out and be boarded onto a plane, and they see that the guy running this little operation is Barry. Now, Barry, if you remember from the very first Jurassic World, he was the other raptor handler that worked with Owen Grady, who was played by Chris Pratt. So he was the black guy that kind of helped Owen with that Velociraptor training. So the kids know Barry, and they feel that they can trust him, so they reveal themselves to him, and they're like, what's going on? So he's like, come with me. So they come on the plane, but as they're on this journey, they start to wonder, like, Barry is French special intelligence, I think, or something like that. So they start to wonder, can we actually trust this guy? Like, where is he taking us? Like, too much stuff has happened for us to just trust people at this point. So while they're in the air, the Kentrosaurus stops breathing, and so the kids scramble to try and save it. So Sammy ends up giving it a shot of adrenaline, which perks it right up, so much so that it bucks its cage and ends up trashing the plane a bit. So they end up crash landing. So they end up crash landing in the Dolomite Mountains is what I read, which I'm assuming that's in Italy, because the kids on that survive that plane crash, which let's see, there's 5 of them. So there's Ben, Kenji, Sammy, Yaz, and Darius. Yeah, so those 5 kids all survive the crash. And they, like I said, they must be in Italy, because Ben goes, oh, we can go to my girlfriend's house. So, and nobody believes Ben that he has a girlfriend. So they drive to, I don't know what village in Italy, and knock on this door. And this old woman, grumpy woman, opens the door and then slams it. And they're like, okay, Ben, nice. Your girlfriend's real nice. So then a minute later, a young girl opens up, and it's Ben's girlfriend. Her name is Gia. And the woman that initially answered the door is Gia's Nona, and she's kind of a gruff old woman. But they're all taken in, and Nona ends up taking a liking to Kenji for some reason. But they have to hide. They have Bumpy's Ankylosaurus egg with them, so they have to hide it because Nona is paranoid of dinosaurs and hates them and thinks they're a curse after all that's happened to the world. So they have to kind of keep that whole thing secret. And Gia is actually studying to be a paleontologist, so she's kept that secret from her Nona as well, knowing that her Nona hates dinosaurs so much. So the kids kind of settle into life in Italy for a short little while, and eventually the egg hatches and a little Ankylosaurus comes out, and they name him Smoothie. And Nona eventually finds out about Smoothie, and at first is incredulous about it, but then seeing how much Kenji loves this animal, Nona kind of comes around, and then Kenji leaves her in charge of him for a few minutes while he goes to do something. And so Nona lets Smoothie into the backyard to go to the bathroom, and then goes inside to do something on her stove or whatever, and Smoothie, of course, escapes. And the other important detail of what they've found in Italy is that they found some mysterious feathers in the region. Feathers from a dinosaur. So they don't know exactly what's going on, but they know something is up. And as they band together to go and save Smoothie, who is in the marketplace, they find out what this feathered beast is, and it's a Pyroraptor. So similar to a Velociraptor, only I think they look maybe a little bit smaller, and of course are feathered. So this Pyroraptor confronts them in the market as they're trying to save Smoothie, and Nona kind of is brave, and everybody's doing their thing. And soon they hear, though, the whistle of the handler, and all of a sudden the 3 Atrociraptors hit the scene. And so the handler is trying to capture the Pyroraptor and take it with her. And she ends up eventually doing that. So amongst the 5 Nublar 6 that are in Italy, they then start talking strategy. Sammy and Kenji are very hurt by Brooklyn's choice to go with Santos and don't want to go after her. They're like, she's made her choice. We're not it. So leave her to it. Whereas Darius, Yaz, and Ben are like, Brooklyn is up to something. Like, we know what Brooklyn does. Like, she's not in league with Santos. She's trying to get Santos, right? But she's just playing the games that Brooklyn plays in order to get the job done, and nothing else matters, kind of thing. So Sammy and Kenji agree to for Gia to drive them to the airport. They're going to take Smoothie back to the U.S. and give the baby to Bumpy, so mother and child can be united. And meanwhile, the other three are going to go after Brooklyn. So meanwhile, in Brooklyn's world, Santos has aligned with Lewis Dodgson, who works for Biosyn, to kind of further the scope of this dinosaur smuggling operation, but the handler kind of goes off on her own. So there's all these cracks starting to form in this little Santos operation, and with Brooklyn actively working against her, once they get to Malta, where they have this underground dinosaur smuggling operation down in the catacombs, there's another journalist there who was a follower of Brooklyn back when she was a teen vlogger, and he's looking to expose this smuggling ring. So he gets caught up in all of the action. The handler gets caught up in all of the action after being disciplined by Santos for going behind her back and working for Dodgson instead of doing what Santos asked. So there's all these monkey wrenches going on in Santos's operation, and eventually, as the three of the five from Italy reach Malta and get involved, and so does Barry, they eventually set up a sting that will catch Santos in the throes of doing all these evil things she's been doing, and will help bring her down. And that's how kind of the series or the season ends. Not the series, because I've heard there is going to be a season 4 with them being able to bring Santos in, end that dinosaur smuggling ring, and the Nublar 6 can all be reunited and go back to life as normal, or at least as normal as it is for them, sort of thing. And the other thing they learn too is that Dodgson from Biosyn purchased some land that he's called Biosyn Valley or something like that, and he's got all sorts of dinosaurs in there. And the kids learn that Bumpy has been taken to that space, so she's no longer in the U.S. She's actually overseas, closer to where they are. So Sammy, Gia, and Kenji at the last minute do a change of direction and decide to go find Bumpy at this place. So there's still lots of stuff going on. My favorite part of the season was there was a part, it must have been maybe the second last episode. I don't think it was the last episode, but when all the things were going on underneath the catacombs of Malta, and the handler had turned on everybody, and everybody had turned on everybody in the bad guy circle, Santos, the handler got her Atrociraptors back after they were confiscated by Santos once the handler kind of deceived her. But the handler, with Brooklyn's help, because that's the only way she could save herself from being killed by the handler, she got reunited with her Atrociraptors, and then she confronted Santos with the three of them. And if you watch the seasons, you'll see they have these little lights that they'll shine on something. It's red, and then if they press green, the Atrociraptors are trained to like attack, sort of thing. So the handler comes in and she uses a whistle to give them commands. So she's giving whistles to the Atrociraptors, and they're like, they're ready to go at Santos, sort of thing, right? But Santos brings out her little light thing and shines them, and the Atrociraptors start paying attention to her instead. But then the handler does have an ultimate hold on the Atrociraptors, and she brings them back under her control. But Santos is like, well, that's okay, because I've got another one trained anyways. And she clicks the light or whatever, and a Carnotaurus walks in and has been trained by Santos and follows the directions. So all of a sudden we got Santos and a Carnotaurus versus the handler and 3 Atrociraptors. But the handler, much to her chagrin, tries to play the same game of taking back control of an animal from Santos, like she did with the Atrociraptors. She tries it with the Carnotaurus, and it looks like it's working until the Carnotaurus is looming over her and just goes like, "How?" and gobbles her up. And all of a sudden, this handler that was such a pain in the ass all this time along is suddenly being turned into dinosaur shit. It was easily my favorite part of the season. It was a really cool sequence, that whole thing. So if you haven't watched any of these shows, like, I know they're computer animation and I know they're technically probably for kids, but if you like dinosaurs, if you love the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, like, these shows are really good. They're really entertaining, and the animation, especially on the dinosaurs, they're so fucking cool that I just can't stop watching. So like I said, I blew through season 3 in record time, and I'm psyched for season 4, so don't take too long, Netflix. All right, next up, we get into the video games. This game I was really excited for. I downloaded it on my PS4 as soon as it was released, and when did that? It was this year. It was this winter sometime. I can't remember. I think it was February sometime maybe that it was released. But without further ado, the game in question is called The Phantom. So The Phantom is a superhero that it was originally based on a comic strip from, I think I read, like, back in the 1930s maybe is when it started out. And The Phantom began with one guy who lived on the fictional island of Bengala and lived in this place called the Skull Cave, and would basically fight the evils of the jungle from this location. And there was lots of myths and legends about this creature that moves in the night and does good all about, but nobody really knew much about this Phantom. So, and then over the years, the descendants of the Phantom take up the mantle in the next generation. So there's always been a Phantom. It seems like he's unkillable or eternal or whatever, right? But really, it's just different Phantoms down the line. They made a movie about it. Was that back in the 90s or maybe with Billy Zane? I think was the Phantom. I've got a novel that I totally forgot I had. I was just looking at it right now. I got a Phantom novel from probably back around that same time. Maybe it's based on the movie. I don't know. But the Phantom's always been, it hasn't been one of my favorite things, but I've always been aware of the Phantom. I always kind of liked the vibe of the Phantom. So as soon as I heard they were making a new Phantom video game, I was like, all in. So, how did it go? Well, it's one of these ones, right? So, the good parts of the game. Hand-drawn graphics that make it look like comic book style. Really cool look behind the game. It is really neat to play. Like, just got such a distinct visual aspect to it. So that initially drew me in when I started seeing some of the screenshots and some of the artwork. I was like, oh, that looks fucking cool. The other good parts of the game, they had some varied gameplay. Most of it is like side-scrolling, beat 'em up style, but each world or region that you go to usually has a vehicle level. One time you're riding a motorcycle, one time you're driving a boat. There's some other ones as well. Maybe you're in a car the one time. Or maybe you're on a horse one time. But yeah, there's always like a vehicle level in each region. So they mix up the gameplay a bit, and the vehicle levels are really fun. A really cool story too, that these pirates, the Sing pirates, kidnap the Phantom's son. So you're kind of going after him to after these Sing pirates to get your son back, and you can play 1 or 2 player. So if you play 2 players, you come along as the Phantom's woman, Diana, I think her name is. So obviously they've got 2 different types of moves and stuff like that, and then you play through the game. There's 14 total levels amidst 5 regions. It starts in Bengala, then it goes to, I think, India, then Sweden, then Australia, then New York, I think. So the 14 levels are spread out amongst those 5 regions. And you most of the time you're fighting hand to hand. You can punch, kick, jump kick. That's the standard stuff. Grab a guy, throw him. You also have limited ammo, up to 20 bullets you can carry at a time, in twin pistols. So if you've run into any significant enemies or a boss, that's usually the best time to break out the guns. But for all the good parts that it had, the game was super glitchy. I had to restart levels numerous times because what would happen is an enemy would be on the screen, all of a sudden he'd get frozen in place and he wouldn't be able to move, and you wouldn't be able to hit him either. So, and you wouldn't be able to progress to the next part of the level without killing all the enemies. So it's like, oh, okay, well, he's not moving, I can't hit him, so restart the level. So that happened to me several times. And sometimes even too, when the action got a little too hairy, you're pressing the punch button, but it's not registering, he's not throwing any punches. So basically you're just standing there getting your ass kicked when you're trying to be the ass kicker sort of thing. So it's a short game, but I don't care about that. As long as the game is good, it can be short, it can be long, it can be medium. I don't give a fuck as long as it's fun. It was fun when it was working. Looks great, sounds great. But the glitching and the controls just totally took everything that was great about it and kind of equaled it out, you know? So if you were to get this game, I would not pay a lot of money for it. I'd go maybe $10 most, 10, $15 sort of thing. And maybe over the course of time, they might address some of these glitches. But the glitches don't hold you back from completing the game. There was one level I had to redo maybe 5 or 6 times, which was really frustrating, maybe more actually. But it eventually, I did get it to work and I got through it sort of thing. But yeah, it does cause some frustration along the way. So the Phantom to me was kind of like a toss-up. Like, yeah, loved it, but also hated it sort of thing. So take that for what it's worth. Next up, Project Cars 2 for the PS4. This was another one of these types of experiences. Oh, it sounds like that disc is loose. There we go. I'd always been curious about the Project Cars series. This is the first game I've had in the franchise. It was released in 2017, and basically the main mode in this game is a career mode, where if you've watched some of the gameplay footage, like when you go embark on career mode, like there's all these entry level events, and then there's the next tier of events up that you unlock after beating some on the first tier, and so on and so forth until you get to the very last hardest tier of events. So there's maybe 8, 9, 10 total tiers as you go through. And one of the cool things is that the racing in the game is very varied. So within all of those tiers, you're going to have one championship circuit that's like rallycross racing. So you're on a dirt with like a little fucking Subaru or something. There's an F1 tier. So you're out there in an F1 car ripping around the track at 200 miles an hour. And then there's like everything in between. Porsche Cups, Lamborghini Cups. What else did they have? I don't know, but just all different brands or not like classifications of car that you would do all these different circuits. So yeah, like I said, you can as soon as you beat a certain amount on the tier, you unlock the next tier. So you go through, you play through a circuit of events. Sometimes you have to do you move on to the championship after. Sometimes it's just a straight circuit of events. But as you make your way through these events, you try and obviously get on the podium at least and earn trophies and do the best you can. But this game was, for all the good parts about it, very hard to control these cars. Some of the circuits were okay. Like I found the rally racing was a lot easier than some of the regular racing. I found the F1 racing for the most part was pretty good, but a lot of the more normal races in between those, like I did a Porsche Cup, and you know, you're just driving down the road and you can just give it a little more gas and all of a sudden you spun out into the grass. Like and forget about like keeping your foot on the acceleration as you go through a sharp turn. You're fucking off into the sand, into the grass, into the wall. The cars just spin out on you at any provocation. Not all circuits were like that, but a lot of them were, enough that it kind of ruined the game for me. So as I made my way through career mode, if the rally races, I completed them all. The F1 races, I completed most of them. I think I maybe had trouble with one or two of them, but for the most part, they were fine. But for the other ones, like I would start a circuit and I'd be like, okay, let's see how this car handles. And if it gave me any trouble at all with just spinning out all on its own, I just gave up on the circuit and I moved on to the next one, because you're fighting just to finish and get last place, because you know you can't win. The cars, none of the other cars have that problem. None of the other ones spin out. It's only your car. So you have no chance to win a race, let alone even not be the last person. You know what I mean? It's that hard sort of thing. So now, when I was posting gameplay footage of that game, one guy commented and he said, yeah, you're pretty good at that game. Like, are you using a wheel or a controller? And I said a controller, and he said, oh, that's even more amazing, because this game plays like shit with the controller. Like, this game is meant for a wheel. So maybe if I had a wheel, I would have had a better time with this game. But I don't believe that games should be made to only be playable on a wheel. It should be equal. You should be able to play it with one or both, and it should behave the same, right? So maybe that's another fucking X beside this game, that they kind of did that. So it is what it is. The game itself, in terms of the look and sound, fantastic. It's a great looking game. Lots of cars, lots of tracks, lots of locations, lots of potential fun in there. But yeah, just the execution of the way the cars handled just totally ruined this game for me. So will I be getting another game in the Project Cars series? Not unless it's given to me for free. Let's just put it that way. So, but it was worth a try, right? Last up, super fucking awesome game. Downloaded it on the PS4 earlier this winter when I found it on sale for super duper cheap. And it is called the Mega Man Legacy Collection #1. I've been playing Mega Man games since 1987, and I can't get enough. I wish they would release more of them, but Mega Man is probably my favorite game series of all time, with multiple entries. It is just such a cool and well done game and franchise that me and my son James, it's probably our most replayed games that we have. We'll always go back to Mega Man. I've got a bunch of them downloaded on the Wii, I've got some on the Switch, and now I've got these collections. Like, I have them across multiple systems because I always want to be able to play them, right? Funnily enough, I don't have any of the originals on my NES cartridges. I think lots of other people had them, so I never really had to buy them. I could just go to other people's houses and play them. But anyways, the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 contains the first 6 games in the Mega Man series. So if you don't know Mega Man, so the very first game was released on the NES in 1987. And basically the story behind it is that it's the year 20XX, so we don't know. But in the future, obviously, because there's robots everywhere. So society has benefited from robots, and Dr. Light is the guy who has spearheaded this robotic movement. He creates all these robots that do all this good for society, and he has created his little assistant robot named Rock. And another scientist, an evil scientist named Dr. Wily, though, tampers with some of these robots and turns them to evil. So specifically 6 robot masters that he has converted to be his henchmen. It's Cut Man, Guts Man, Bomb Man, Ice Man, Heat Man, and Elec Man. Those are the original 6 robot masters in the Mega Man game. So what Dr. Light does is he takes Rock and says, are you willing to fight the good fight? He's like, yes, I am. So he turns Rock into a fighting robot, now dubbed Mega Man. So Mega Man goes after Dr. Wily and his 6 robot masters and saves the day, basically. So Mega Man is a Capcom franchise. Capcom, in my opinion, is the best video game company out there. There's some others that are right around them, but Capcom, I think, over the years has the best games, the best consistency, the best everything. So basically, this game lets you choose the order that you do things. So you're given options to choose any one of the 6 Robot Master stages at the beginning of the game. The trick is, when you beat a Robot Master, you then gain their weapon, and that weapon will be very effective against one of the other Robot Masters. So you've got to fight the levels, get to the boss, try and beat one with your regular Mega Buster, then get that first weapon, and then find the Robot Master that's weak to that weapon, and then go through the stages in that order that makes it the easiest for you to get through them all. And then once you're through that, then you go after Dr. Wily and his castle, sort of thing. So, and then as the games were released over the years, they all had a similar type of story with a little change here, a little tweak there, some additional characters brought in, but essentially the same thing. Starting with Mega Man 2, though, it went up from 6 Robot Masters to 8, and that's the way it stayed after that. So, like I said, Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 includes the first 6 Mega Man games, which were all released on the NES from 87 to, I'm guessing, probably maybe 93 or 94, I would guess. Somewhere in around there. And on top of this collection, including all 6 of those games, there's some bonus features. There's a database that gives you information on all the characters in the game. There's a museum you can look through that has all sorts of like sketches and game concept artwork, that kind of shit. You can go through and play all the music in the game. There's a rewind function during gameplay, so in case you screw up, you can backtrack a little bit. And then there's also a bonus mode called Challenges mode. So basically what they do is they will give you little sequences taken from any of the first 6 games that are in this collection and give you a time stipulation to beat if you want to earn a certain reward level for beating it. So sometimes it's sequences of levels from just like Mega Man 1. Sometimes it's a Mega Man 1 through 3 mix-up, so it'll be portions of levels from the first 3 Mega Man games. Sometimes it'll be just a boss rush from a certain game, so you'll face all the bosses in Mega Man 5 or whatever. And so I think there were, I don't know how many challenges there were in all, but there was a lot, like at least 50, I think. Maybe not that much, probably 40 to 50, I would guess. And yeah, you have to beat a certain number to keep unlocking, sort of thing. So I did pretty well. I didn't unlock all of them, but I got a good portion complete, at least on the bronze, the lowest rank. I didn't fight too hard to gold everything or try and complete everything, because it's like I've already beaten the games. I'm just going through the challenge mode for fun. I'm not going to stress myself out about it, sort of thing. So, but a cool little ad on top of all the other things they threw into this collection. So, and it was super cheap too. So, if you've never played Mega Man and want to get into it, I think all the systems have this game available for it. I know it was also on the Switch. I'm assuming it's also on the Xbox. So, and I don't think it's too expensive to buy in the beginning. In the first place, but it was on sale for super cheap, so I was like, that's a no-brainer. So if you ever want to get into the Mega Man games, that's probably the easiest way to do it, and you won't regret it. Mark my words, you will not. So that is all for now, but I will be back probably very soon, because I've already got 3 more things completed and ready to go. I got a 4th one that's just about to go down, and so we'll just be looking for that elusive 5th item. But either way, I will be back very soon. It's a fucking promise. Toodles.
Meow.